Good evening, Burlington and Halton residents. So nice of you to join in and be with us this evening on Burlington Matters, where we talk about all the things that matter to you in Burlington and beyond. I am your host, Burlington Mayor Mary Ann Mead Ward, and we are back in the saddle in the season for our second show. You can tune in live as it's happening. You can also catch us later on online, so be sure to do that. We've got lots going on, and before we get to our guests, this is the business show of the season, and really happy to talk about that. Some things that are happening at City Hall. It's a busy fall. We will be heading into our budget discussions very soon, so look for opportunities to tell us what you think our priorities should be. And one of the things that we will certainly be discussing is transit. I've been working throughout the fall, as you may know, on the idea of free transit for students. So working with the school boards here in Burlington to partner together to share costs and to see how we can make that happen. So that's one of many things that you will see coming up. We're talking about private tree bylaw, talking about how we increase our canopies. So when you want to get involved with the City of Burlington, visit us at burlington.ca/get involved, and you can check out all of the things that we're working on and give your input to us. So let's get to it. I want to introduce my two guests that are here today. We have from Anderson Hauser. So Tony Varga is here, the general manager of Anderson Hauser, and Lisa is here, and I've forgotten your last name already.
Lisa Verbanek.
Lisa Verbanek, and you are the Quality and Excellence Business Manager. And I might have messed that up too, but let's just move on then.
Okay.
Complex titles.
Lisa and Tony. That's how we're gonna.
Tony,
yeah, that's how we're gonna talk about you. And Anderson Hauser is doing some incredible things, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but I am just so thrilled to have you here. Thrilled with the expansion that you're doing, and so I'm going to turn over. Who wants to start? Toot in your own horn. This is such an amazing Burlington story. And so tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, first of all, we really appreciate the opportunity to sit with you today, Mayor. Anderson Hauser is a private family company. We're headquartered out of Switzerland. We have about 14,000 employees around the world. We have 145 in Canada, and 85 of us headquartered out of the Burlington area.
That's great.
We were privileged to receive the support from our family, the Andrus family, and the board of directors to build a brand new customer experience center. And we, for our third expansion, had chosen Burlington again for this investment. We started back in Burlington about 27 years ago. We're in a building on Sutton Drive and recently purchased 4 acres of land directly behind us on International Boulevard. So building's up for sale and permits are flying, and we're getting ready to start moving some dirt.
Well, I've been on your dirt mover.
You've been on our dirt?
I was there for the official groundbreaking of the expansion, which was awesome. A lot of us were, and yeah, I actually stood up on top of one of your earth movers. So that was a lot of fun. But what is unique? Tell us what's unique about. I mean, you've been on quite a journey at Anderson Hauser, and this building is kind of tells the whole story about that journey. But tell us a little bit about that.
We've been very fortunate to have the family actually really want to invest in sustainability and to make sure that this new building goes beyond just meeting requirements. So right now we have designed our building to be a LEED Gold building, and it will also be net zero energy and net zero carbon. So that is fantastic because it's actually the second development to meet both certifications in Canada and the first.
That's incredible.
The first with private investment. So really, we're very, very fortunate that the company has actually gone back to us with our initial design and asked us to invest more money to do a sustainability and energy analysis and to really make sure that we are providing the most sustainable building for our future growth and our associates.
So how do you achieve net zero? Give us some, non-technical speak.
A lot of solar panels.
Yeah, a lot of solar panels. Okay, and then I know you were talking at the groundbreaking about making sure people unplug unnecessary. I mean, there's simple things, and then there's
yes. There's definitely a combination of creating energy on site, so hence the solar panels. Our rooftop is actually maxed out with solar panels, and our architects, McCallum Sather, have been actually very creative. They've used double-sided solar panels so that we don't expand beyond the roof to make sure that we're creating enough energy to sustain a 4,800 square foot facility. But it also comes down to design choices, low energy appliances, lighting. Everything that we're doing has to really make sure that we're conserving energy, and as well the user experience. So we'll really, as you said, be encouraging our folks to shut down fully at nighttime, really be cognizant of plug loads, and do you really need to charge everything at your desk and have the extra heater? We've really designed the building so that we're not consuming more than we're creating, and this is how we achieve net zero energy.
Other elements to that are also geothermal heating and cooling. So we'll be sinking a substantial well bed as well as the envelope of the building itself. So triple pane glass, a lot of natural lighting coming in. You typically don't have blinds in the windows, so you're thermally controlling it. Facility's 48,000 square feet. Elisa said 4,800, and I wish it would be a lot less planning. But yeah, so between the building envelope, the electrical on the roof, and the geothermal, we're able to exceed the standards that would be required.
That's incredible. I think the awareness for users about the energy that we use, and my own journey was getting the use of an electric vehicle through a pilot program that Hydro was doing for brief periods of time, and it really shows you that whatever it is that you do, and in this case it's transportation, takes a certain amount of energy, and that the first few times I had the car, you forget to plug it in. I never forgot to unplug it, but you learn that energy is required everywhere, and so we need to make better choices about what our energy source is, first of all, but how much energy we use, and reducing that. So so I think that's really terrific.
There's a lot of factors that we don't consider, things like terms like parasitic energy, so these battery chargers that we leave plugged in all night long, monitors that are on standby, photocopiers that are on standby, they're drawing a lot of kilowatts of energy. So even by building code, a lot of the electrical outlets in the plant will shut off automatically at night, but also making sure that we're just down to the bare minimum security lighting, life safety, things to sustain the facility after hours. So there's a lot of things you don't think about that we've been educated on in the last 8 months. Unfortunately it goes home and the lights are all out, and it's a dark home, but yeah, it's very interesting where you can leak power without realizing it.
Well, that was one of the things that I learned through the city's exercise. We recently declared a climate emergency, of course, and looking at ways that we at the city can reduce our carbon footprint and reduce greenhouse gases. And one of the things we learned, we call it ghost power. It's parasitic, but you're not. I was never aware that if something is plugged in, even if there isn't something plugged in at the other end that you've turned on to charge, you are drawing power. So it's something in the neighborhood of 30% of your power could be eliminated if you just shut everything off at night or when you're not using it. So there is an opportunity to take stories like this and tell that story across residential uses as well, to let people know how they can just make better choices, right? We don't need more energy all the time. We just need to better use the ones that we have. So tell our viewers what Anderson Hauser does. What kind of business are you in?
So at Anderson Hauser, we're in the business of process instrumentation. So we build the instruments that reside in industry underneath the city of Burlington and thousands of other cities, measuring the water coming in, the quality of the water. We measure things like oxygen in the water going back out to the water treatment plants. We measure density, pressure, temperature. So basically in the world, we measure the real world and provide those signals back to the computers that control the real world.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's probably what we do in a nutshell. Very precision, from very small millimeter wide flow meters up to meters wide of flow meters and other technology. So if it can be measured, we measure it. Gas, liquid, anything.
That's incredible. And you've been on a journey not just around being responsible corporate citizens around your energy use and reducing greenhouse gases, but you've also been on a a process improvement journey in terms of improving the customer experience, which is part of your title.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about that journey that you've been on.
Yes, we call it our lean journey. We've been on it for about 3 years now, and it's been really an exciting time. So in essence, what we've done is really taken a look at our internal processes, not from our internal point of view, but from our customers' point of view. And I think we seldom do that as a business. I think we are much like other businesses, and perhaps even down to city processes as well. Very siloed, and we are a little bit stuck in the tools and in the processes that we've developed internally. And this is what holds us back to really providing a smooth experience for the customer. So what we've done as a team is actually taken the management team and prioritized which are our processes that most impact our customers, and we've actually looked at that from the customer's point of view, from the time we receive a request until we provide you the product or service that you wanted and send you the invoice and our transactions complete. So it's taken us quite a few years to really comb through the majority of our processes, and we use a methodology called Lean Six Sigma. So for the average folks, this just means we look for any sort of waste or inefficiencies, any internal processes that really don't add value to you as the customer and lengthen the time for us to respond to you. Maybe we don't meet your requirements fully, and we try to improve that. So we go out, we listen to the voice of the customer, we ask you as the customer, what do you expect from us in terms of response time, in terms of the quality of the output that we give you, in terms of the communication frequency and status updates, and then we try to implement that in our processes.
That's great. So give me an example. We've got a couple of minutes left, but give me an example of a way you used to do things and the feedback you got from your customers, and then what changed as a part of this.
I think probably the best example we have is our service team. So we have what's called a demand service, which means anytime a customer experiences a breakdown due to our products. So for example, our flow meter stopped working and your line is down. You phone our technical support and you want our technician to come to your site and service that device. It used to take us, I believe, upwards of 2 days to just phone the customer back. Maybe
this is a 911 call.
That's how the city works.
This is, we're in trouble.
We're working on ourselves too.
And we need your technician. So this is really a customer in a critical situation. So this was what we actually prioritized to do first. Now our response time is we have someone dispatched, parts ordered within 2 hours. So we have everything planned out, and we're able to service you within 2 hours versus 2 days of just phoning you back to maybe schedule the technician. So these are the kinds of improvements that we're talking about. We really cut out steps that were very internal and again, didn't really add value, and we really prioritize that phone call. That's an emergency, and we're going to help you.
And did you have to add more staff, add more money, spend a lot of money? You just fixed your process.
We fixed our process. We took a look at the steps that we follow, cut a lot of them out that didn't need to be there. For example, excessive approval steps, going to different departments to get what you need. We really enabled the frontline people to be able to serve that customer immediately. And we have now measures in place. We call them KPIs, and we're able to then track and make adjustments to the process. But as long as you measure and make things visible, people will adjust the way they do things.
Well, what you measure, you can control and track, right? So
we are a control and track kind of company, so it's in our DNA.
So we decided to measure ourselves.
Yes.
Good. Well, and that's great. And we only have about a minute left. But the good news for folks out there is that you have agreed to come and help the city work on our processes so that we can be equally efficient. You have the pressure of customers being able to choose a competitor if they don't like the service they're getting. They're stuck with us. So we got to do a better job of making sure that our processes. So we've been very grateful to get your help, and I know you're working with our staff on that. Yeah, thank you. Last question I like to leave on a personal note, and so tell us something that you want to share with the public about, let's say, your recent interesting place you visited.
Sure. Every summer, I really enjoy going to Croatia with my family. We have a place on the Adriatic coast there, and it's really fantastic to just enjoy the time with the kids and our family and spend time on the beach and really absorb that European pace of life and culture.
Awesome. Croatia and?
For me, it's Iceland, and my wife, we're frequent flyers to Iceland, and in June we actually got married in Reykjavik. After a 10-year engagement, we chose a favorite place, and we were married in Iceland. So, yeah, very, very, very exciting summer. We had a lot of weddings in Anderson Hauser this summer. So,
were they all in far-flung places? Got a travel budget for that?
No, some local, different ways, different places, but
that's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and for being part of our Burlington business family. We love to see businesses like this that are global, that are also groundbreaking in terms of what you're doing in the country. Setting a new standard for energy efficiency and greenhouse gas and net zero. That's wonderful. It's one more great story to tell about Burlington, #1 city in the country. So thanks for joining me, and thank you for being part of our community.
Yes, and thank you to your staff and yourself, Mayor, for the great support on this project and the opportunity to work together with you on the lean aspect. It's been a lot of fun. We're very excited about getting the shovels in next month.
It's how business should work.
It's how business should work. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is our business show for our audience, and so my guest for the rest of the show is Claire Green. Welcome from our Burlington ECDev organization. We've dropped the corporation, and you are the manager of marketing and business attraction. So, I was at a board meeting recently. I do sit on the board and heard some exciting things. But let's toot our horn and talk to the community about what's going on. So let's talk about the marketing plan first.
Yeah, for sure. So this is a new role at Burlington Economic Development in terms of a new renewed focus on marketing and attraction. So there's a new energy in the city to keep doing what we're doing, but also strengthen those efforts around investment attraction and marketing. So with that, there's a little bit of a bigger conversation around brand in terms of the Burlington story, the Burlington identity, really trying to dig deeper into what makes Burlington so wonderful. We know that it's wonderful. We're very well aware of that, but how are we telling that story? We're number one. We know that. We know we're number one. But how are we going out and telling that story and getting our business community to sort of act as spokespeople and ambassadors for us? So this comes with sort of a larging branding conversation, not just for economic development, but for the city. It's become quite clear that for economic development, our product is the city. We're out there selling the city. So how are we packaging that and not only telling that story to our residents, to our businesses, to our tourists, but also to the rest of the world?
And you presented to us about a city that has already done this to try and create one unique story or brand to sell the city in Helsinki.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what you learned from the Helsinki experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, when I interviewed for this position, I was asked to deliver a presentation on another place branding example that I thought was successful. It was an easy decision to choose Helsinki, Finland, capital of Finland. It's a truly wonderful example of this one city, one story approach. So what Helsinki did was they had over 50 existing identities for their cities, whether it was different agencies or divisions or departments. They all had their own logos, their own brand, their own version of the story. And in a whopping 7 months, they had to bend the city's approval process to sort of get it done so quickly.
That is very bad. We're going to be bending a lot of processes coming up in the city.
Awesome. They were able to create one Helsinki brand, and this brand is flexible, it's adaptable, and as they say, it could be used in everything from to traffic tickets, to child support letters, to international marketing. So it was one logo, one story. It was adaptable, recognizable, and consistent. With a brand to be successfully launched and activated and maintained, it needs substance to stand on. So that's really where it comes down to. Burlington is our product. How are we sort of leveraging our assets here, not just the great quality of life, which we know is fantastic, and that's a core part of it, but going beyond that to look at the other aspects and elements that make people and businesses want to be here.
Well, and I know one of the things that is a really powerful story is when you talk about the company they get to keep when they locate in Burlington. I do regular corporate visits to find out and educate myself about who's here, and we have international, global, billion-dollar businesses, cutting edge at what they do, whatever industry that they're in. And in one case, I'll mention Hunter Amenities. They started literally on a kitchen table in Burlington, and now they are a billion-dollar corporation. If you've ever stayed in a hotel, you've washed your hair with soap or shampoo, you've used Hunter Amenities, right? And that's just one story. We have corporation after corporation in this community and we just talked to one earlier on the show, Hauser, first net zero private building in the country, right here in Burlington, and so we gotta tell that story, and that's of course your job.
Yes, to tell that story. Exactly. I have to tell the story, but I also have to sort of create a narrative for our chief salespeople like yourself to be able to go out and tell that story. And also for those businesses, give them platforms to tell their story. So helping them amplify their own message and their own story, helping them grow in the process as well.
Absolutely. I'm having my business cards changed to Mayor and Chief Storyteller.
Perfect.
That's a true story, folks. I'm not making that up. Once I get them, I will show you. The other part of your job is business attraction, and we've talked a little bit about doing things faster. Our red carpet task force, which ECDEV was very much a part of. But the red carpet piece is how are we going to get more people? We need to tell that story, but how do we land those corporations? So, and I know there's a lot of great things. So share what's happening in the city and some of the good news that is yet to come.
Yes, absolutely. So of course, with the red carpet task force, the big focus is rolling out the red carpet, cutting the red tape. How are we making it easier and more efficient for companies to get in the ground and come, and keeping that promise? We get them here with that promise of we'll make it easy for you to be here, but how are we making that process actually possible once they land here? So there's a couple of different ways that we're doing that. I hope to leverage our soft landing program at Tech Place to help them land here so that we have time to sort of help them come, settle in. We'll give them office space for a year. We'll introduce them to potential partners. We'll introduce them to the people that they need at the city to be able to sort of facilitate that process and help keep it going. But in terms of wins and success stories that we've already seen from that, so of course Hauser is a huge example of that. So it's wonderful that you were able to chat with them about how we're able to sort of move the process and get them into the ground to start developing this state-of-the-art facility that they're doing. We're also welcoming Tandia from Hamilton, to bringing a 70 new jobs to Burlington. So they'll be opening their new headquarters here, global headquarters. And we're also have strong renewed interest with some of our investment attraction partners, so delegations. So we've just recently hosted Turkey, an electrical company delegation here from Turkey. So we're following up with some exciting prospects out of that event. For the new year, we have plans with Japan and China. We have a Latin American delegation coming, which are all technology startups that are coming in later this month. So how we're bringing them to our city, showing them Burlington through our culture, our people, our businesses, but also, hey, but once you get here, we're going to make it easy for you to land here and get going.
That's awesome. We have about 30 seconds left. I'd like to leave with a personal story. What'd you do this summer?
What did I do this summer? Well, as you know, I just returned from maternity leave full-time in September, so I spent the summer in my son's world, seeing everything for the first time again in William's world. So, you know, he's at that age where we're starting to go to the park multiple times a week, going to the pools, going to the beach, going to the cottage. So I think just getting to see everything through his eyes, I think has been really fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me. And thank you to all the Burlington residents out there watching Cogeco, Your TV, or online. Thanks for tuning into the Business Edition. If you have any feedback for me, mayor@burlington.ca. Good night.